The only other thing, I mean, I won't comment too much, but it's going to be similar to kind of like our other playtest, I think.
Hmm.
But just like, yeah, you basically understood. There weren't a lot of people who like understood pretty clearly the like mechanics of the game and everything,
Hmm.
but it's gone through some iterations and Max has done a ton of work on it, so I think like it's gonna look similar, but there's some new stuff in there that we're pretty
Neat.
excited about.
Um, One comment out of the gate, which is that these audio sliders are not easy to read.
Audio sliders not easy to read.
Yeah, good feedback for sure. Thank you for that.
Oh right, this was like a controller or a mouse and keyboard game.
Yes, should do both.
Well, I'm playing on mouse and keyboard this time. Stay
Cool.
away from. See, do I recognize UI elements from last? The like wave timers. Oh, that's interesting. The projectile accuracy goes down the longer you hold the button. That's good to know. Can't venture into the red zone anymore, at least not at the moment. Can I... Okay, the game pauses when you open crafting. 3 of these, so I can do this. Oh, I have a different weapon now. It's faster, but it shoots lower rate of fire, and I only get 3 shots. That's it. Oh, there's recoil. I hadn't noticed that till now because I've been moving around frantically. Huh? Eh. We'll do this. The tooltips are helpful. See what the white one does. Bundle of arrows. But if I get out, can I unequip? Oh yeah, I remember this now. Okay, so we take this out. This kind of... Oh! I earned that. Okay, so this time we're going to try not clearing the board so much so that I have more stuff to build off. Shit! Shift to eject. Okay. How do I... Shit! I'm glad you're enjoying this.
It's something. Yeah, we're.
Damn it! How do I... Alright.
When you're getting hit, are you noticing anything different from when you eject the ship than normal?
I mean, I can see the little... Because it's so much more zoomed in, I can see the little bug indicator is showing me that there's, like, things coming. But it's still... They're so fast, and it's, like, not quite precise enough for me to know how to dodge. How do I... There's got to be a way for me to, like... fix the thing. Maybe the timer in the bottom right means something, but I'm not sure what. I did so much better the first attempt. this. And then we'll get out, and we'll unequip, and we'll do... Damn it. I grabbed the wrong thing. Grab that thing. We're making progress. Damn it! Okay, so that seems like a countdown. Do I just have to survive? Can I craft something while I'm out here? I cannot. Or is that the round time? I don't know. Wait, there's a lightning. What is the lightning? There we go, lads. We did it.
Woo!
I'm so good at this. Holy shit. Alright, we're back. A little more space to breathe. Hit the blue ones. Ah! Ah! You're so fast! Okay, here we go. Now we can do this, and then we can deal with these guys first. Can I move through this? I can. There's no consequence for that. No. Unequip, drag this out, plant, back, dodge. Can't blow up the pink. There might be a different weapon that I can use to blow up the pink. Or maybe I just need to shoot it enough. Sure. Incredible. Got it. Alrighty. Okay, you can bump it. That's good to know. Whoop, I hit the wrong button. I just reflexively hit tab. Okay. I am in fact good at video games, as all of the evidence would suggest. That. Great. More progress. I feel like there's less breathing room now. Like in the last time I played this, I felt like I usually had time between waves to like do things, to catch my breath and breathe. But literally right now is the first time I've felt like I've had that opportunity.
Cool. That's good
All right.
feedback.
Doesn't really do me good because it's not contiguous, but it's fine. Oh, there's green chips there. I want those. Damn it! They're so fast. Like
So
if you die to the blues, they are going to kill you. Okay. So let's unequip, drag this out, grab that guy, and then we can get back in and grab the gems by hand, or with the ship thing. I'm not sure what the like narrative description is supposed to be, whether it's like a ship or. Oh, I understand. I think. Flew too close to the sun. The game is much harder now.
Mm-hmm. You had commented on like breathing room earlier. Is there anything else that like makes it harder in your mind?
I think the enemies feel less predictable. Like, especially these guys, they're so fast. Breathing room is, I think, the big thing. Is I don't feel like I have as many opportunities to, like, make... Because, like, I think, like, the whole, like, the way that you influence the game and you, like, control your game state is through placing those like, lanterns. And I feel like... Damn it. I just feel like with the with the less breathing room and the faster enemies, I feel like I have less time to do that, which makes it really hard to feel like I'm making progress. Like, I think at most I've had 4 lanterns on board.
Did you intentionally die just right then?
I did not. I feel like tab, this might be like a League of Legends keybind thing, but like when I die, my instinct is to press tab.
Is that a common League of Legends? I've never played.
Tab is the scoreboard. I don't know if it's a common thing that people do, but like whenever I die, I'm like, I've got nothing else to do, so I might as well look at the scoreboard.
I see.
So it's just ingrained muscle memory for me.
Do you? Oh well, we can get to that at the end. And I mean, do you have better button suggestions? Because I don't PC game, and I just kind of chose those two arbitrarily.
Spacebar might be a good one. Like I think maybe for a default option, spacebar would be a good option. Like if you're assuming that generally people are going to want to, you know, eject, I would maybe try using spacebar as the default. I don't know if that would actually work, but it's the first one that comes to mind.
For ejecting or dying?
For ejecting, because I assume that's going to be like the default. Like usually, most of the time when you get out or when you get hit, you're not going to want to give up the level just because you got hit. So I think for ejecting, spacebar is a good thing to try.
Got it.
Oh, I don't think I've actually tried this. Damn it! I don't think I've tried the white weapon yet. Because I do like the fact that it's like, oh, you've collected enough gems to do the thing. Now you have to choose whether you want to use that as a weapon or use it to like expand your play space. That's cool. It feels, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about the like cost of it. My instinct was to say it feels expensive, like considering how much effort it takes to get enough gems to like make a thing. I don't often find myself feeling like, damn it, that was not intentional. I don't often feel like using it as a weapon is a worthwhile use of that effort. Like I spent so much effort getting these chips to try and, expand my play space. It feels too expensive to just shoot it and then use it up like that. I didn't happen to notice if that was ammo or kind. Hard to tell. Also, I don't know which color it is that like when I shoot them the like board moves down. Because it doesn't register to me that it's a different thing until after I've hit it, and now the board has moved, and I'm like, oh shit, what color did I just hit?
You can't tell like which enemy it is that causes the board to shoot down.
Yeah, I know that it is always the same color. I think it might be this one, but I don't. In a vacuum, without seeing it happen, it wouldn't. Or like in the moment, I don't register like, oh, if I shoot this one, the board's gonna move down. And that might just be because at this point they're all just colored squares, and they're not quite distinct enough. Especially the ones that have the same movement patterns. Like the blue ones stand out to me because they move different. But like the red ones and the purple ones move approximately the same pattern or the same like speed and tendencies. Like the red ones move at angles and the purple ones seem not to, but yeah, it's the purple one that moves it down. But they feel a little too samey for the one to have that big of an impact. When the other has virtually no impact for the same action. I think maybe, I mean, I could be totally off base. Like maybe if the purple one moves slower, it would be more distinct. And that would also make it like harder to not shoot, because like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking like, oh, I should avoid shooting the purple ones, and the slower they move, they're going to be in the same spot longer, and potentially, they'll cause more problems if they're in an inconvenient spot. Got this. Does something different happen if I use this on a colored square? I can't use it on a colored square. That's good to know. Okay, so this timer in the bottom right corner is a round timer. It's just less, it seems less clear than it was in the previous way that I played it. Because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess having the ability to see, like, upcoming rounds grounded it in my brain better. But now only just seeing like you have this much time until the next round. It really isn't that much difference. I don't know why my brain is sliding off this presentation so much more. The red ones can destroy the pink things, but there's no way for me to control where they go. So it feels kind of arbitrary where they end up. That's, oh, poison. No? I don't know if there's a way to destroy the like bright pink squares other than to allow a red enemy to run into them. Okay. We're gonna test this. Okay, that is on a timer. That is not an ammo cap. So there is no penalty holding down the button as I've built it. Does the yellow work the same way? It does.
Yep.
It's out.
You sounded frustrated right there.
Yeah. I was focused on watching the Snaky Boys and trying to make sure that I could clear them before they got to the bottom of the board, and really took up a lot of space in my like play zone. And I did not see the purple one coming across the bottom at all. Which I think part of that is just my limitation as a gamer. I know this about myself, that I frequently have difficulty tracking multiple things happening on screen at the same time. Which means like bullet hell games are inherently challenging for me. Does this throw further away from me the more times I've died? Seems that way.
Probably our last round or so, just
Yeah.
as a heads up.
Okay.
If it's particularly short, we might go for one more, but... And I
Well,
know
these-
that we're being like a little bit quiet, but...
Yeah,
this is
I
all
mean, I
super-
figured like you don't want to poison the well, so I expect information, if you're gonna give it to me, is gonna come at the end once we're done. Okay, there's purples up there. I want the purple. Fell out too fast.
How come you want the purple ones?
Because I don't know what it does. I don't think I've ever in this playthrough collected enough purples to be able to put together a thing and be able to test what it does. I don't think I've actually used the green weapon either. I see greens up there. By the time I get there, they might have disappeared. Nope, but now I have to make the arduous trek back with them in tow. Okay, I think I know what my thought is on the timer now, because I think in the previous one I didn't know what it meant at the time, but the fact that I could see like, oh, there's going to be like a break coming up, that was good information to have, to like be to have that knowledge in advance, so that I could like be in the mind state to like run out and go do stuff on the board outside of the ship. Before it happened, it was a good thing to know in advance, but that is not visible anymore.
we got one more, I think, if you want to do.
Okay.
but It's up to you.
Joke's on you, I have the files, I can play this whenever I want. This does feel like the kind of thing that I'm gonna be like mad that I'm not better at, and just spend time like trying to get good.
Then the next playtest will be really fun.
Oh, if I break the snake in half, it develops 2 heads. That's good to know. I'm sure that's not the first time I've seen it do that. But it is the first time I consciously noticed. I don't know what I just hit that slowed everything down. The moon is up, which means I'm on break time. So I can see I've got green gems out there. I'm gonna go grab those. Spend my entire break period getting those. And then at the beginning of the next round, just build that. See what it does. Hammer with what looks like poison on it. Ooh, it's a shotgun. I gotta wait till these snakes come a little bit lower so that I can have stuff to build off. Damn it. I'm not sure how I would improve it, but the keybinds feel inconsistent. And I'm not entirely sure what I mean by that, but I often find myself in the situation of like, oh, there's a prompt on screen. I have to read what button I need to press. It is not instinctive what button I should be pressing to do this action.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to sit on it and think about like, what button do I think to press when I want to do X? But I don't know what those are off the top of my head.
Helpful. All right, sweet. That's it. Cool.
Great.
So you can exit the game if you want. You can keep chatting otherwise, but
Oh, there's
yeah,
back to main menu and quit buttons now. That's an improvement.
It is. Yeah. Well, thanks again so much for playing. Like, I really appreciate it. We're gonna, I mean, I think the last time, like, it's gonna be probably some similar questions from what you had heard before, but I think already, like, there's been some pretty, this has already just been super helpful for me, because I think this playtest in a lot of ways is, like, mostly helpful for me most of all, whereas the last one was helpful for both Max and I. Not to say it's not helpful for Max. I mean, I think the question that I would say is, like, compare between, like, this time compared to last time. Can you think of maybe, like, a couple things that you're like, yeah, this is definitely good. I loved this improvement, and I thought it was really great.
I think the variable weapons is a big improvement. I feel like they are too expensive.
Mm-hmm. Sweet.
I think the increased enemy variety is really good. I think I touched on it while I was playing that, like, they differ in a couple ways. Like, you know, some of them, the biggest way that the enemies differ is how they move. Some of them have other effects, like, you know, you shoot the really fast blue ones that are going diagonally, and, like, the green space moves up, and that's good. But if you shoot the purple ones that move at right angles, that moves the green space down. And I think those do not feel like, when I shot the blue ones and my space expanded, that felt like a pleasant surprise. But it wasn't until, like, the very end that I was like, oh, this is a thing that I know that I can do. I'm gonna, like, intentionally try and hit as many of these as possible to get that benefit. And I know I said it out loud during the game that, like, the purple ones, I was almost never thinking about the fact that, like, oh, if I shoot this, it's gonna shrink my play space. Mm-hmm. It was just not a thought that my brain had space for while I was trying to do a bullet hell game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What
Oh, go ahead,
what's the
Matt.
advantage that you see when you shoot those diagonal ones?
Um, I mean, like the green zone at the bottom expands, which I think the primary, like the first advantage that I notice is like I have more space to work. My movement is not as confined. I actually didn't notice whether or not that counted against the like progress meter. Um, but again, that could be entirely due to my inability to track that many things on screen at once.
Cool.
Is a weakness other people might not have.
No weaknesses, only strengths, bro. Yeah. I'm also curious. Like, I think you touched on some of these even in like your last answer, but you're like, um, and so like, you can reiterate briefly if you want, or you can kind of expand on maybe like other stuff. But is there anything that you were like compared this time from last time? This was like a change in the game that I didn't like as much, or wish kind of had been less extreme, maybe, than was changed.
I think the timing, the two things that I think are changes that made it, I don't want to say worse, but like maybe more challenging and like
In an unpleasant way,
in an
maybe.
unpleasant way, yeah. Is that one, the timing felt a lot faster. I felt like I had way less time in the previous version. I usually felt like I had like a couple seconds to breathe at the end of every wave. Um, and then there were like, there were occasionally the waves where it was just like, this is a breathing wave. There will be no enemy. In this one, it felt like the next wave, I didn't even notice the wave distinctions because it felt like the next one was starting before the previous one had ended. Um, and the removal of like a visual representation of we are this far through the wave and like the next wave is going to be here in this much time. Like I know that the timer was on screen that was counting down to the next wave. At least I assume that's what that meant. Um, but not being able to see what was coming next, even though last time I didn't know what the colors meant, like once I knew that was there, like that's good data to have, like to know that like, okay, I'm going to finish this wave and then I'm going to have time to, clear out my play space, remove the blocks that have built up in the movement zone, and like maybe go build some I don't know what term you're using for them, but like build some things and go place them in the world so that I can, expand my play zone a bit. Knowing that that time is coming is really helpful, and not having that felt very limiting because it just felt random. Like, oh, the enemies have stopped, but my brain is still prepared to like, I'm still waiting for more to come, and it takes a couple seconds for me to realize that they're not coming. Even though I could just look at the timer, see that there's a moon, and know that it is now rest.
Yeah. Cool.
On that note, actually, during the rest rounds, there was like a moon with like the clock face timing on it. During the fight rounds, I know that like so maybe you can describe this better to me, but like I know there was the number, which I don't actually know what the number meant. And now that I'm saying it out loud, I think that might have been like the number of waves until the next break. Um, but in the moment, I was reading that as like this is just like a countdown, like this is like the number of seconds until the next wave, because I never felt like I was looking at it long enough to realize that it was just holding on that one number.
Oh, got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel pretty comfy, just to tell you. Like, it's it's a count up, not a count down.
Okay.
It's a round counter counting up the number of rounds that you have had so far. So like if that's on 4, that means that you've survived 4 rounds of, monsters.
Okay. That information is not valuable to me while I'm playing.
Uh-huh.
I think having that number displayed somewhere less prominent, like having it on screen seems like a good thing. Having it in that prominent of a place seems like a distraction.
There's more pertinent information that
Yes.
could be displayed with that real estate.
Yeah. The thing that I want to see there is when am I going to have a break next?
Mm-hmm.
Because like the break times are super important because that's where you can actually safely get out of the ship and go build.
I think I've got 2 more questions left, and I really appreciate your answers to this, Alex. To everything so far, and your availability to play test with us. My next question is going to be, was there any moment in the game today where you felt like cool? Like you felt like, oh, I pulled that off. I can't believe I did that. That kind of like a excitement feeling.
There was a moment where like there was one of the waves of like the blue guys that are moving diagonally, where I just kind of happened to hit like 5 in a row with 5 shots or something like that. It might not have been that impressive. And I was like, wow, that worked. And I bought myself a lot of space. That was entirely luck.
Yeah, I mean, that was sick, dude.
However, I think if the pace was a bit slower or I was a bit better, I think if I had known that round was coming up, I could have like, built the machine gun upgrade to be like, okay, so there's going to be a lot of guys moving very fast and there's a very high payoff for killing them. So if I know that that's coming, I can build the machine gun in preparation for that and then clear that wave no problem. And that I think would have given me that, yeah, I understand the game and I'm playing it right and I'm getting rewarded for that understanding.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that my next question is like, and then Max, if you got any, you can jump in. But my question is, like, is there anything that you're excited to see or like hoping to see in the next iteration of this game, whenever that may be? Assuming that we have like unlimited budget or anything.
A lot of the things I want to see are quality of life improvements. Like, for example, I would like to be able to know the footprint that what's the term you're using for like when you put the things out in the field?
It's cleansed area. How much area is getting cleansed? Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know what that area is going to look like before I place the thing. And I think how do I want to phrase this? Because like I could guess at the dimensions of the cleansed area provided by each color, but I don't think I could say confidently what they are. And adding to that, the fact that I don't have very precise control over where the like spots where I can place them are. I would if I was better, but I currently do not. And adding to that, the fact that I don't know exactly how big the zone is going to be, and I can't tell at a glance like that this block is like there are 5 blank tiles between it and my current working area. It just feels kind of random and chaotic and not very well controlled when I'm trying to do that, because I think there were a couple times, there was at least once where I did I placed a thing. There was at least one occasion where I placed a thing and I was like, oh, I don't think that was actually useful because I don't think that connected to the rest of the space that I had. And I was wrong. It did. It connected up in a really useless place, but it did connect. But I had no idea that was going to be the case when I placed it, and that's contributing to that problem is that the camera is so zoomed in when you're out of the ship, you can't see the edges of the zone you've just cleansed. In particular with the yellow tile, because it extends vertically, like off the top and bottom of the screen.
Mm-hmm. On a screen that's already wide, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
I also have absolutely no idea what the zone for the purple one looks like, because I never got 3 purple chips at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They felt very scarce, and like hard to get to.
Sweet. Yeah. That's all really, really helpful.
Wait.
Max, any other questions?
Oh, well, I was wondering if you wanted to elaborate more on any quality of life stuff, based off John's last question about like unlimited time, resources, whatever, anything you'd like to see in the game.
Oh,
is there anything else?
So I don't think I ever actually said it out loud. In terms of like, I don't know how far apart things are. I don't know like the spacing. Something that might help, at least like, when you're actively going to be placing a thing, is to have a grid so that I can easily visually count space and know that like, okay, so there's 4 tiles here, and I know from experience that the yellow one extends like, I don't know, 4 or 5 tiles up and down. And so I can very quickly visually assess exactly the area that's going to cover. Where currently it feels kind of guessworky.
Solid. Yeah.
Oh, and one other thing that I would be excited to see is like boss fights, maybe? I don't know if that's a thing you plan on adding, but like the idea of like going through a bunch of waves, and then there's like a big enemy that drops a lot of chips all at once could be cool. I don't know. Maybe that's not the direction you intend to go.
No, I mean, we're definitely like, I wouldn't count us out for like any option at this point. Like any feedback that you provide is helpful. I think if you're like, this is the style of game that I'd really like to see a boss fight, that's definitely something that we would, love to at least consider putting in,
Or even if like if like the bosses didn't drop chips, but they dropped like special weapons that you couldn't get through just the regular enemy.
Yeah, that's a sick idea.
So it doesn't help you expand your area, but it does like provide you resources that you can use. On that note, I also felt like the guns didn't last long enough. I felt like they were too expensive and not beneficial enough.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Yeah. Any other like quality of life things? I feel like Max is like loving it.
I think that's all I've got for the moment, unless there's something I said that you would like me to expand on.
I'm good. I mean, that was all a bunch of awesome feedback for sure.
Yeah, you can also like ping me during the week or whatever. Like I work on this pretty routinely, so like, Max.
I do have a question.
Oh yeah.
First of all, yeah, thank you again for taking the time and playing this. It was great, and your feedback has been great. So you definitely seemed frustrated while you were playing, and like usually when you were dying. I'm wondering if you can elaborate on any frustrations you had.
So I think So I know there was like one moment in particular where I felt kind of frustrated because I had like, I think it was that I had like the 2 snake guys had hit like poison things, and they're like coming straight down. Like those are problems that I need to deal with Otherwise, it's gonna like limit my play space even more than it already is. And so I was like currently dealing with another problem. And so then I finally like felt like I had the slightest moment of breathing room to go deal with that, and I like slid in underneath to try and knock them out before they got all the way to the bottom. And I guess I don't remember off the top of my head if I just like moved wrong or like the timing of the bullets just happened to like be perfectly off. And I just didn't manage to hit it before it touched me. Um, I it was frustrating, but I don't know that that's something. I think I would have to like play it more to figure out if that's like a this is an unfun mechanic or this is I need to be better before I can enjoy this.
Okay. When you left the ship and you were like the little dude,
Yep.
what did it feel like there was stuff missing there, or did it feel challenging and like you just hadn't mastered the mechanics yet?
When I was not in the ship, it felt so like my impression of that is like this is supposed to be dangerous. You know, like if you get hit while you're not in the ship, it's just game over. Which sort of encourages me to not leave the ship when there are enemies on board. But there are other mechanics encouraging me to do so, like the fact that if I want like the green and the purple or the green and the pink gems are much more scarce. And so I want to go out of my way to go get those. But if those enemies happen to be like in the middle of a string of rounds between rests, like if I kill them further up the board, there's absolutely no way for me to get those chips without getting out of the ship and then spending a lot of time walking unprotected across the board. And so it kind of they felt inaccessible in that way. And it just felt much more rare that those were enemies that tended to appear lower on the board. Where if I kill them, I can pick up the gems while I'm still in the ship. You asked specifically about moving outside the ship. I think like it feels like it's meant to be dangerous and something you should not do without considering. You should be prepared to do it, and you should understand the timing of when it is and isn't a good idea. But it also feels like if you wait until it's a good idea, you miss opportunities.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, I think the only other question I have is, how do I phrase it? Do you feel like you made a lot of progress in the game? Actually, I have two questions, but did you feel like you made any progress in the game?
Not really. I feel like I think the furthest I got was I got like, four of the things down. And they were in like a weird pattern, which again, if I were thinking about when I'm shooting enemies, if I were thinking about where I'm shooting enemies more than I currently am, then I could be controlling where those spots show up, and then making better use of the tokens I've got to clear space. But it felt like it was so easy to die, so easy to get game overed, and so hectic all the time. It felt like there was rarely time to make progress, and I usually died before I got the opportunity.
Okay. Do you think there was anything you could have done or any kind of like strategy?
Yes. I think, and I think I started saying this out loud at some point during the game, that I was, okay, I need to make sure that I'm killing these enemies in places where they will drop like their bodies that are going to be useful. Um, but it then felt like, okay, so I'm gonna kill these snakes near the edge of the board, or near the edge, the like the borderline where the like contaminated zone starts. I'm gonna wait till they're there to shoot them. But then the next round starts and it's hectic, and I'm just worried about surviving and getting enemies off the board, so I'm not risking getting blown up. That I end up accidentally shooting the things that I placed intentionally, um, so that I could make progress. And like the goal of staying alive and the goal of making progress sometimes felt in conflict with each other.
Right on. Those are all the questions I have. I mean, this has all been really good stuff for me to hear. Yeah. Thanks so much again, Alex.
Cool.
Yeah, really appreciate it, dude.
Might find some time to play this more on my own time. And I'll text John some opinions, maybe, but I'm also so busy all the time.
I know, dude. It's okay.
We'd love it if you played and yeah, text John or like leave notes in this Discord here. We have like a bunch of channels up here. Feel free, whatever, either or. It's all good.
If I find the time, I will do that.
Sounds good, Alex. Thanks again.
Yeah, no problem.
Really appreciate it. Have a good night.
Yep. Good night.
Alex.